The White Horse and the Sun by Ned DeHaan. The audiobook. Made available on Black Box Online Radio. Please like and subscribe. Chapter 3. Joanna and Barry sat at the motel table. They were mulling over ideas. Barry had made some black coffee. He didn't feel nervous, but perhaps he was, considering the unusual amount of sweat that was building up on his blue sweatpants. "There's one more thing we need to find out," said Barry. "The code?" Joanna asked. "I was going to say the Hebrew message," Barry returned. Baruch Allahé, Baruch Alaveh. "I thought you meant the code," Joanna muttered. 7-6-47-300-8703. Both the White Horse Killer and the Soft Ice Killer knew about that set of numbers. As of now, we only have one number identified, 8703, which was your room number when you lived at the Birch Bark Motel back in Williamsport. The last time we saw the White Horse Killer, he said those numbers, the same way the Soft Eyes did. But Barry, there is something more important." "What's that?" he asked Joanna. "The last time we saw the White Horse Killer, he hijacked the conference sound and video systems," she began. "He said he was doing it with a microwave radiation signal, and I don't know anything about that stuff, but after the convention, we asked people about that, and they also said they had no idea. They didn't know if it was true. But how else do you think he could hijack a signal like that to a monitor?" "I don't know," said Barry. Computer hacking, maybe?" "So, we are dealing with someone who knows a lot about electronics," Joanna determined. "Perhaps yes," Barry mostly agreed. "Electronics or software." "Software? Like computer programs?" Joanna asked. "Sure," said Barry. "But he also constructed a bomb, so perhaps he can do both, hardware and software." "Geek Squad?" Joanna laughed. "Excuse me?" Barry reacted. Joanna thought, I just remembered that there were those guys that work at the Best Buy, the Geek Squad, and they work with, computer repairs, and I haven't been at Best Buy in so long, probably 15 years, yeesh, but I remember them mostly because of the commercials." "And you think the White Horse Killer works for the Geek Squad?" Barry genuinely questioned her. "Well, it doesn't have to be them," she started, "but an IT professional." "I see." Barry showed interest. "Yes," she continued, "someone who knows about computers and systems. Well, what else do we know? He has a military background. He has never been identified in any databases, so that means that he either didn't leave DNA or fingerprints behind, or perhaps they were never on file. He might be Jewish or Israeli because—" "I don't think so," Barry disagreed. "You don't?" Joanna jumped back. "No, I don't think he's Jewish or Israeli," Barry challenged her. "He said, Baruch Alaveh," Joanna argued. "Baruch is a Hebrew word." "But the rest isn't," Barry debated. "You told me yourself Anton LaVey started the Church of Satan. Baruch Alaveh, I mean, the rest isn't Hebrew. Just because someone uses one Hebrew word doesn't mean that they're from Israel." "Fair enough," said Joanna, "but I still don't think he's an American, Barry." "Barry, are you okay?" Barry's eyes went blank, and Joanna could see that something was going on in his mind. The wheels were turning, and the gears were shifting. "The code," Barry murmured. "You mean the numbers?" Joanna went on. 7-6-47-300-8703, said Barry. "I know the code," Joanna confirmed. 7 plus 6 plus 47 is 60, said Barry. "Then add 300. 360. 360 degrees. 8703 was my old room number back in Williamsport. 360 degrees. It's a circle. The code is leading us in a circle, starting from the Birch Bark Motel. Joe, we have to go back to Williamsport." "I know. I told you before that I don't want to play games," she started. But I'm packing my bag right now. Can we get the 7 a.m. bus? Chapter 4. Both Barry and Joanna took the day off work. They decided that they would spend 24 hours in Williamsport, looking for clues that related to the code. Joanna slept soundly during the night, but Barry had his eyes closed without actually sleeping. How could anyone sleep at such a time? Their plan was to arrive at room 8703 and find a circular path or trail that would reveal clues about the White Horse Killer, the Soft Eyes, and anything in between. The bus arrived in Williamsport, and Barry had managed to enter a deep sleep during the ride. He was awakened when Joanna rubbed his shoulder. "We're here, love," she awakened him. "I had the strangest dream," said Barry. "Oh?" said Joanna, feigning interest. "We were ice skating," he laughed. "You and me." Joanna's mood lightened. "That'll be the day," she muttered. As they descended from the bus, they walked into Williamsport, and Barry felt like he was back in time. He had spent years living in that town, and Joanna and Barry walked by the birch bark as the sun was low in the east. Both Barry and Joanna felt vibrating notifications on their phones. "It's Martin," said Barry. "I know it," Joanna predicted. "Another body has been found," Barry read the message. "This time on Kent Island in Maryland. The victim's name has not been revealed, but her body was found behind a restaurant called Jake's Steaks. She was 22 years old, and on her chest was a note that had burnt edges and read, 'Sun Crush.'" "We have to move fast," Joanna decided. "This isn't a prank, like the red horse with the soft eyes. This killer is real." Barry and Joanna arrived at the Birch Bark Motel, and it was like they had never left last November. In fact, it hadn't changed at all since Barry had lived there. They sat down at the gazebo table where Barry had met Blaze years ago to obtain the chocolate card worth $500. "Now what?" Joanna asked. "The instruction was to start at room 8703, Barry reminded her. "Instruction?" she repeated. "I mean, this is more like a deduction rather than an instruction." "Well, maybe we'll put it all together and make a concoction," Barry mocked her. "I don't appreciate that," Joanna sneered. "And that would be a decoction, not a concoction." "Huh? What?" Barry seemed puzzled. "Are you sure?" "Anyway, I'm willing to give in," Joanna announced. "We can start exactly at room 8703. Joanna rose from the old wooden picnic table in the gazebo space, and, "Joe!" Barry called to her. "What is it?" She froze in her tracks. "Sun Crush," Barry stated. "Sun Crush." "Yeah? What about it?" she asked. "We have to make a full circle," Barry began. 360, the sun goes around the earth. Is this really a clue, or is it just a metaphor for the sun and the earth?" "What do you think the killer is trying to tell us?" Joanna asked. "I wanted to ask you," Barry remarked. "You're good at this. How do you get inside his head?" I don't know," Joanna thought. That sounds like psychic powers. I mean, we can try. We can try to guess, but let's see, remember Cooper?" "Yes," said Barry. "Behold a Pale Horse by William Cooper. It's from the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. The pale horse is running wild and spreading destruction." "Where is the horse running?" Joanna asked. "It's a metaphor," Barry answered. "But what if it were real? Where would it run?" "I don't know," Barry thought. "The sky?" Now it was Joanna's turn to have the gears turn in her mind. "Barry, where's the nearest church?" she asked. Chapter 5. Barry and Joanna walked around a corner in Williamsport. It was a rather small town, so it didn't take too long, but there were many places with wide open spaces that separated the buildings. Walking from one part of town to the other was like walking through a separate field. "There," said Barry. "That's the nearest church that I know." Church of Atonement? Joanna read the sign. Yeah, Barry confirmed. Don't ask me anything about it. I've never been. I'm not normally a churchgoer myself, said Joanna, but I want to see the windows. Churches have stained glass windows. I mean, sometimes they do, and these messages are all about the sun and light and horses running across the sky. It sounds like something that you would see in a stained glass window. Well, the Church of Atonement is the closest one around, said Barry. But do you know what you're looking for? No, Joanna admitted. But I want to see the light. I want to see the images in the light. That might give us some ideas. Plus, we are supposed to start at the birch bark and move in a circle. Again, you were the one who said that we don't know that, Barry pointed out. Well, I can see the stained glass from here, Joanna challenged. Let's go in. Joanna and Barry walked toward the Church of Atonement, and sure enough, there were stained glass windows that were on the front of the church. They were hard to make out, but Barry was pretty sure that they both featured Jesus. Fortunately, it was a bright sunny day, so Joanna's plan to observe the light would work. She walked to the front door and gave a loud knock. Joanna, it's a church. You don't have to knock on the door, Barry hissed. Oh, really? She asked. Are you sure? Yes, just go inside, Barry urged. Joanna grabbed the door handle and opened the door. The handle was like a large circular ring that looked relatively new. Joanna and Barry entered, and they could see the church pews and a large crucifix at the center of a raised platform at the end. Seated in one of the pews, close to the door, was a man. He turned around, and his eyes grew wide, and Barry's heart sank. Barry knew it. He didn't have to say the words, for Joanna knew it too. There before them sat the White Horse Killer.